2. Hello, everybody. This is Football Psych, and I'm Coach Mad Mike.
And I'm your boy, Good Old Shaq.
That's good right. Old Shaq, man. It was good to see you again. At any moment, I guess Large Sarge will be joining us. But, hey, we are on our Commanders edition. It was supposed to be on Monday night, but I lost power to everything. So we had to reschedule for tonight. So, but anyway, thank you, Shaq, for moving your schedule around.
Yeah, no doubt.
And thank you for those who are going to be joining us here in a little bit. You know, I wanted to start off with a Hail to the Redskins thing, but we will probably postpone that. We've got so much in store for you tonight. If you don't catch us live, you'll be able to catch the recording. I know messages are going out right now, and we are ready to get things going. And here is Large Sarge. All right, we got Large Sarge here joining the fray of things, and welcome, Large Sarge.
Welcome.
All right, well, we are getting deep into it. We've got so much to cover today, so we're going to get right into it because we just passed the 1-year anniversary of the Harris ownership group, also known as the Hog, and they bought Harris and company bought this team on July 20th of last year. So we are just over 4 days of them having a 1-year anniversary, with the biggest hire that they did in the offseason was to get Adam Peters on in here. What do y'all think about 1 year? If you were to give them a report card, Jack, how do you think they're doing?
Okay, so for 1 year, look, Large Sarge, look, you look motivated. You all right, Large Sarge?
I'm motivated.
Look, so for 1 year report card, right? So I can't grade them too high because we haven't seen any winning football yet. So what I will give them a C plus, right? Well, I'm a C plus B minus, somewhere in there, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because of bringing Adam Peters in, because of bringing all the coaching staff in that they brought in, because of the draft class they brought in, because of all the short-term free agents in there. That stuff right there was an A, but I want to see winning football before I move besides a C plus B minus right now. But in the 1 year of turnaround, I think they are starting to move in the right direction. The trajectory is good. I still don't like the Dan Quinn hire, but I think they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that this team did, and I could kind of probably agree with you. Large Sarge, what do you think about overall grade that you would give the Harris ownership group after 1 year?
C.
Okay. Is that to wait and see what's going to happen?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I got to wait and see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
My hope says B plus. My gut says C minus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because if you think about it, we can't give this team, this ownership group A or a B plus or anything like that on a strength that all of us have them predicted to go 8 and 9, barely making 500. So if we can't give this team an A, B plus, that's why I said maybe a B minus, depending on how the season go. But yeah, I'm going with a strong C, B minus. So I agree with Large Sarge a lot.
I mean, a large part of my opinion is that left tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference right there to me. That's the whole difference right there.
Yeah, because I feel like we fill every other gap. So I agree with you because I feel like we fill every other gap where we had issues. Linebacker core was slow and sloppy last year. We brought in Bobby Wagner and Louisville. You know what I'm saying? We addressed everything. Secondary is still kind of suspect because we let guys go, right? And this is me personally. Of course, the offensive line, but I don't think we have the strongest quarterback room, and I don't think we have the strongest. Receiver core. I think we have the third best receiver core in the NFC East. So,
we got weapons, we got talent. I think we improved on the defense. There are definite improvements. But if Jaden Daniels is going to run around the field for his life, like Sam Howell did,
yeah, like Taylor Heineke did, like RG3 did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so one of the things that I think that I've noticed about this particular team is it's been an off season of change. whole new coaching staff. The ownership was just like, listen, we got to clean house. Now, they did it very subtly. And even when Adam Peters came in, I remember watching his interview, and they asked him the question, hey, do you feel like you have pieces to work on? And he answered that question very, very delicately. He's just like, I think we have a few.
Yeah. Well, and then you can tell, right? You can tell. Now, this is just me personally, right? So we know Jason is going at the end of the season. He's stepping down as the president of operations, right?
Yep, I was getting ready to get to that. Actually, he's already stepped down from president of football operations, and they're going to use him as an advisor for a new stadium build to work the stadium project. But he is no longer the head of football operations.
Wow,
that happened a few days ago,
Yep.
and he has officially stepped down. And so the changes have not stopped yet.
I thought that he was going to do it at the end of this season. But I mean, if he's already stepped down, I mean, that's another change. I can tell you another thing they need to do, and this is the reality of it. Some of these old Redskin players they have hanging around, they need to start shooing them away too, because they was out giving advice. They do. They really do. You got Doug Williams in there. Doug Williams has been in there giving guidance, but what real help has he been in this organization? We haven't been good in a long time. He's been in there. Martin Mayhew has been in there. Like, these guys have been in the rooms, in the offices, helping with the drafts and everything like that. They need to start clearing. Hey guys, you guys are retired. It's time to go sit your tail down somewhere and let the fresh young eyes do this.
Yeah, I think we're in the process of doing that now because most of the front office has been completely flushed out. The scouting departments have been flushed out. Even like the media department's been flushed out. Like pretty much a large portion of the organization has been flushed out, and the players are now almost being completely flushed out. Like, you have to reprove yourself to this new regime or you're going to be gone. And I will tell you, there's a lot of people who are returning this year that might have a couple years remaining on the contract, but this is an audition year for them because, believe me, they're coming up with a whole new identity for this football team.
And I concur. I agree with you, and I'm gonna tell you why I agree with you, because we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. There are a lot of guys that have been on this roster for some time now that I feel like are on the bubble. They're on the bubble. De'Ami Brown, Jamison Crowder. You know what I'm saying? They're guys that I feel like they are on the bubble. Like, they may not make this team. You know?
Yeah, they may not. So let's talk about a couple things, because one of those things is the top needs, and Lars Sarge already came up with left tackle, but there was a lot of discussion this past week about, are our edge rushers strong enough?
No.
And the other question is are our corners going to be able to hang with receivers in our division?
Oh, so now, the time the corners are going to have to cover is based on the defensive line. Mm-hmm. So our interior is solid. Newton in there. You got Allen and Payne in there. You know what I'm saying? We have a couple guys that's going to rotate in on the interior. The edges are the question. Like, again, they brought in Dorrance, and then they put Dante Fowler in to rotate in on the top right side. That left side with Cleveland Farrell and all this stuff, that's going to be the question mark. And will these guys, like guys that's already questionable, St. Jude's, Forbes, will they be able to hang in coverage if there's no pressure up front? So those are questionable. I'm going to tell you another one, because I'm really sitting looking at this. But our quarterback room is something that is a question. If you think about it, we got Jaden Daniels as a rookie that's going to be starting, but what real mentorship is going to get from a Marcus Mariota?
Yeah, so one of the things that they brought up about Marcus Mariota is that they come from similar styles. And he was a second overall pick when he was drafted too. And he was extremely promising, a similar style. It failed. He had to come over a lot of hard lessons learned to get to where he is. And he found like mediocre success from time to time. And so the idea behind that is to learn from those past mistakes. That maybe that instead of, if you can't get a guy in that's hugely successful to back you up, then maybe you can get a guy who's at least been through some of the rough pains to tell you, hey, don't do this.
What now? So right. I agree with you. I agree with you a ton on that, right? But why Marcus Mariota? He was a beast at Oregon. When he was in college, he was a beast at Oregon. But let's think about this. He was in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is one of the weakest conferences in college football. So it's like, did he really get the experience for the NFL like he's supposed to? We seen that with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz played North Dakota State. They said he was going to beat the guy, blah, blah, blah. Did he really have the experience to be Trey Lance, another one? Did he really have the experience? So for all of that, we could have held on to Jacoby Brissett, had a good pocket passer to teach him.
I did like Jacoby Brissett a lot. And I also thought he did bring some really good leadership to the locker room last year. And so I don't understand why we would have let him go, because when he did come in, he played well. When he did come in for Deshaun Watson, when he was suspended in Cleveland, he played really well. He is a good backup quarterback in the NFL that you can trust, can carry games if your guy's out, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
and so
even when they benched Sam Howell, and he played, and when he threw 2 touchdowns back to back.
2 touchdowns. He was great.
Change your pace, change your pace, guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, did either one of you see the press conference that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn held? Did you?
Yeah, of course. We all saw it. Everybody saw it. Yep.
And did you hear the question? Who's going to be the starting QB? Did you hear the answer?
Yeah, he gave the political answer because
talk to me, Coach Mad Mike. What was the answer?
Well, it's kind of like we'll see if Jaden's ready, kind of thing. If he's ready, we'll put him in there. But he's got to show he's ready.
That's not what he said. That's
not. It is what he said. But what did you hear him say?
It's a journey and a process.
Yeah, it is a journey and a process.
It's a journey and a process.
Because but that's the right answer, because it is. Because when you have a rookie that comes in from college, there is a transition, right? And there's a process that you have to put a quarterback through to say that he's ready. You don't make a week 1 starter like right now. Like they're just putting on, like they're just being issued their pads like today.
Wouldn't it be
I don't even know if they actually put on pads today. I think they were issued them today. So
it'd be something if Mariota became the starter.
That would be rough.
That'll be rough. But let me tell you what's going to happen.
I know a lot of Redskins fans and Commanders fans that do this right here. This is what they do right here. They're like,
no.
I will be one of them.
No, listen to me, though. There is a process behind that, because let's be for real. He's got to learn the playbook. He's also got to get the timing down and sequence in there. I mean, you don't know until you put pads on. Even when pads on right now, they're still going to redshirt them. They're still going to keep them from getting hit. So you're looking for timing. You're looking for sequence. A lot of things are going to be learned over the next couple of weeks, and you'll start hearing stories come out of the camp. Either he's looking good or he's struggling, and that'll give you an indication. If he's struggling and they've got greater issues that they've got to pan out, and like say the offensive line's not where it needs to be and they're still trying to bring guys in, which we can all predict is going to happen, there could be like some hesitation on just throwing him to the wolves.
Well, I can tell you right now, I can tell you this right here, Coach Mad Mike. So I agree with you wholeheartedly, but the issue with Jaden Daniels right now is that with Marcus Mariota being the backup, there is no real pressure. There's no real pressure for him. Like, I'm going to tell you a quarterback that has pressure.
Real competition.
There's no real competition. So I'm going to tell you who has pressure right now. Russell Wilson has pressure. He has Justin Fields behind him. He has Justin Fields behind him.
Yeah.
He has pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those kind of situations, there's pressure. There's no real pressure on Jaden Daniels. Like, only thing I have to do is just play just a tad bit better than Marcus Mariota.
That's very true. And you know what? And so, like, all indications are, like, even though they're not going to make it, you're going to get the paid public announcement. Oh, there's a process. We got to see if he's developed. Listen, he's going to be the week 1 starter. Jaden Daniels is going to be the week 1 starter. But, like, you just don't want to give it to a guy, right? So
I'm sick of politics.
You want to make him earn it.
Call it.
No, they're not going to call it, because you don't just want to give it. This isn't a coronation. This is like, hey, listen, you need to earn your spot on this team. I got to see that you can play the playbook. You build it with your friends. Listen, he's going to take a majority of the week 1 snaps, so just get over it. It doesn't need to be called right now, right? Give it a couple weeks.
I say by the second playoff game. I mean, now second preseason game. Now in that second preseason game, we're actually going to see a lot of the first team offense because it's only 3 games. We're going to see a lot of the first team. We're going to see a lot of the first team offense. So whoever's
they're going to play well into the third quarter, probably that game, because they're going to go into halftime. They're going to come out after halftime, and you want to see the after halftime adjustments. You're going to do that, and then you're going to start pulling guys. But that's like your dress rehearsal is that second preseason game, and so you'll. And they might not play at all in the third preseason game.
No, not at all. That's going to be guys they know not going to make the team.
Right. You know, Shaq, I agree with you about the pressure, and I say. They're messing up. Put the heat on the boy. Make him the starter. Put the heat on. You better perform.
Yep.
Believe me, there's enough pressure, enough heat on the guy. So I think it's okay with it. So anyway, one of the things that you wanted to talk about there, Large Sarge, was Sanistrell. He's out there training with who?
Darryl Green.
Yes.
That's right.
Apparently Darryl Green showed up. And Sanders and took him under his wing, and there was a little wing there, and said, "Come on, boy,
let
me teach you." And Sam Russell said, "I'm a sponge."
As he should be. I've never heard Darryl Green take anybody under his wing and start developing them. But like, if you were a young rook and Darryl Green's there and say, "Hey, let me show you a couple of things," I don't know how you're not a sponge.
And then my thing is. Darryl Green at his age is still in phenomenal shape. I think he's like 60. He just ran like a 4.3 or 4.4 or something.
Unbelievable.
At the age
64
of 60,
years old.
Yeah, 64 years old. He just ran like a 4.3 or 4.4 or something. 4.5. It was somewhere crazy. Like
dude can still play, man.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they need.
So I'm actually really hoping that Sinistrell really catches on and learns a lot from Darryl Green, because I'm sorry, when I look at Emmanuel Forbes, like he needs like a complete resurrection to his career, because he was atrocious last year. He's borderline bust material to me right now.
Wow.
And then Benjamin St. Juste, I'm sorry, he took a step backwards for me last year, and he needs to recover. And when I look at Michael Davis, I was never really a Michael Davis fan to begin with. So, like, this corner room to me is very suspect.
B- to me, Coach Mad Mike.
I don't know why we didn't pay Kendall Fuller. So that's one. I don't know why we didn't pay him. 2, we passed up on Christian Gonzalez for Emmanuel Forbes. I think Ron Rivera did that on purpose. We passed up on Christian Gonzalez. Christian Gonzalez was still on the board, and he's definitely a better cornerback. And we passed up on him.
Interesting.
I'll tell you what Ron Rivera was looking at. He was looking at 6 interceptions returned for touchdowns. That's all he saw.
Yeah,
that's all he saw.
What he said, we went through the analytics.
That's the analytics that he looked at, because that's the only analytics the dude had.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. Come on.
God.
Because I'm telling you, we passed up on a solid lockdown. Like here in the next couple years, we're gonna be talking about Christian Gonzalez as a Pro Bowler here in the next couple years.
I don't think we'll be saying that about Emmanuel Forbes.
He may not. He's not gonna be a Redskin for
I mean, he needs to have a completely turnaround year. As a matter of fact, I would be happier if I was hearing Emmanuel Forbes was out there with Sinistro learning from Darryl Green.
Yeah.
If I was Emmanuel Forbes and I heard Sinistro was training with Darryl Green, I'd be like, how do I get in on that?
Yeah, how'd I miss that PR coup?
Yeah.
Well, not just the PR coup. I just want to learn some lessons. Like, I'll show up.
Right. Well, this is the thing right here too. Okay, so we're not in those rooms. Maybe he wasn't invited. There's already conversation of
he wasn't invited.
Maybe he wasn't invited.
Point.
Because it's a good point. Like he may not have been invited. We already know that they're in the rooms, they having the conversation, stuff like that, and he's another one of those guys that's on the bubble. Like, they're already trying him out and kick return and punt return and all that stuff. So it's like,
yeah, he might not be part of the plan. You might be right. They might have already chalked up. That's the previous regime that we're suffering from idiocy. And we might be cutting bait. But I will tell you what, here's another storyline that I caught on to this week, and it had to do with my good friend Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat was like the first major decision of the Hog, the Harris ownership group, that they debacled completely and utterly. They actually interviewed him. I can't remember the station that actually interviewed him, and he basically gave some pretty interesting comments that I was glued to my screen watching, because, you know, he never liked the name change. He always liked to be in the Redskins. So like, and I've always been a huge Montez Sweat fan. Well, they asked him about the trade, and he said, it pissed me off. He goes, I was pissed off. He goes, I was so angry.
I would have been too.
Because there was no discussion with him at all. He just comes in and he actually finds out, actually through a communications wire of some sort.
Oh God.
That he was being traded.
So unprofessional.
Unprofessional as hell.
Unprofessional. And he was angry. He was just like, I'm what? I'm traded and I'm going where?
Yeah. And what's messed up about that though, right? Is he's another piece of that defensive line that we could have held on to, right? Chase Young, Chase Young, I said when we drafted Chase Young, I said, hey, we could have got our quarterback in that draft. We could have got our quarterback in that draft, but we wasted a pick on Chase Young. I'm talking about as soon as we drafted him, I said, why did we just waste that pick? He was taking plays off at college, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I knew he wasn't going to do his full rookie contract in the DC area. Mm-hmm. I knew this for a fact. I said it. I kept saying it. Then when he started getting hurt, I was like, oh, it's a wrap. It is a wrap. He's gone.
Yeah, so let me tell you about Montez Sweat, though. So he went through an emotional roller coaster. He said at first he was angry. He was so freaking angry. He was pissed off, I can't believe this has happened. And then he said he actually had a moment where he felt scared, because he was wondering what people were seeing about him and whether or not this was like the beginning and the end of his career.
Yeah, why wouldn't they keep me?
Because then he said he felt like a sense of like urgency within him, and he started questioning his own abilities, because why did they give up on me?
Yeah, true. I can see that.
Every guy would go through that, man.
But I think that feud is fired though, because when he got to Chicago again, he got there, played 6-7 games, and led the whole team in sacks.
He led the team in sacks, and he was leading our team in sacks beforehand. But I like the human element, because we look at players sometimes in the abstract, right? But when you actually get behind a psyche of a football player, we're football psych after all. You know, when you get behind that psyche of it, like, you know, he was going through some emotions, and he was just like what? Like, did they not believe in me? Did they not like
my hard one via text? You know,
is there something wrong with my game?
Yeah.
Like what's going on? And when he goes to Chicago, he does that, and he ends up convincing the Bears, and Bears sign him to a 4-year, $98 million contract.
And he's worth.
By the way,
he's a winner. He's a winner.
He's a winner. He's worth every dime. But by the way, would have easily have fit into our salary cap.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yeah.
Would have easily fit.
Yep, and he's worth every dime of it. So I think that's another thing I think they were trying to do this year too, especially with all the older pieces that they're bringing in. It's like, okay, I understand we want instant winning in DC. We have too many losing seasons. We want instant winning in DC, but you got to start looking at these long-term pieces, right? So they try to take the Bill Belichick New England Patriots route. Let's nickel it down my way to a championship, to a Super Bowl. Bill Belichick and them wasn't up there paying people money. You know what I'm saying? Right. Tom Brady got paid. Randy Moss got paid, but everybody else was working minimum contracts. They was drafting 6th-round guys and stuff like that.
Even I was never a Brady fan up front, but after I learned more about him, I became a Brady fan. The thing about Brady was, you know what? He was making so much money off his endorsement deals. He actually took a cut. He actually gave up money to stay on the team, but the deal was you protect me. Yeah. How that man go that many years and never get a major injury? You know what I'm saying? And look what happened. You sit a decent quarterback behind a pocket that doesn't break. He's gonna complete some passes. Yeah. And then he went. I think that was his conditions down in Tampa Bay too. He went down there to say that you got to protect me, because he was barely sacked down there. I think the team that got to him the most and during his tenure at Tampa Bay, I think, was us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think out of all the teams they played against, I think our team was the team that sacked them the most. So
I mean, you know.
Yeah, so you fans who are on here watching, please leave your comments in the comment section here. Large Sarge will respond to you. If you ask a question, we're going to try to answer it. So please go ahead and give your comments on there, and we'd love to hear from you guys. So another comment came up is as we start training camp actually started a couple of days ago, but like they are just now getting into the swing of things. Today was actually their first physical practice where they were actually out there doing things close to the public. I will be there to the very first open practice to the public this Sunday. I will be out there actually watching them in Ashburn and getting firsthand exposure to what these guys really look like. And I got a list that was actually put out on the they call it the Commander's Wire, but it's really the Redskins Wire, of who they think that is really competing out there and is on the roster bubble. So I'm going to throw out these names. There's 7 of them, and I'd like to get you guys' comments on them. So here's the list of people where they say are absolutely on the roster bubble. I think the list is probably...
I can probably guess. I probably could guess maybe 5 out of 7 of them.
Okay, well, why don't we try that? I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. Go ahead. Shaq.
Okay, De'Ami Brown.
De'Ami Brown, check.
Okay, Chris Rodriguez.
Negative.
Oh.
Let me see. The tight end room is full, so I would say, let me see, a tight end. Maybe. Let me see who we have in there. We got Sanat. We got Zach Ertz. We got John Bates. Who else we got? I know one of the linebackers. I mean, one of the tight ends.
So I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and stop you right there. A tight end is not on the list.
Okay. Sam Hartman.
Sam Hartman is not on the list.
Oh.
I'm gonna give you one more strike.
Okay, one more strike.
I'll give you one more strike, and then I'm going to ask Large Sarge to pick somebody.
Okay, let me see. Got
to be somebody on the O-line.
Although I like your list, though. Don't get me wrong. I do like your list.
Yeah. Let me see. Let's look at. I'm gonna go back to the receiving room because Jamison Crowder. I'm gonna go back to the receiving room.
So I like that one too, but it's not on the list.
Oh.
So Large Sarge, give me a name.
Oh hell no! You just read them off. I have no idea. These people are crazy. They're crazy. I don't know what they're doing.
So I will tell you, every single person that Shaq just mentioned would have been on my list. So I do like your list there, Shaq. So like your list is not wrong. This is just their list, okay? So and their list, who knows what they think half the freaking
Was there an O-line guy?
They actually say that somebody that's on the roster bubble, Jamin Davis, which I'm sorry.
I was gonna say him. I was gonna say him. You know why? Because we had the conversation last time. I was gonna say him, but I was like, no, because we did draft a linebacker and stuff like that. But Jamin Davis is quick sideline to sideline. He just
and I think you can continue to develop him under Bobby Wagner. Like, why would you give away a key important depth piece like that? But they say he's on the bubble. Here's another one. Defensive tackle, Fedarius Mathis, who we got with the 2nd round pick a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They're saying
because we drafted Newton.
Because we drafted Newton with the 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So another one, Percy Butler.
Yeah, Percy
Butler.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can see that one.
Next one, offensive lineman, Braden Daniels.
Okay, yeah. Braden Daniels.
That's what I knew there was an O-line guy.
But Percy Butler's because we drafted Sandstrill. So, yeah.
Sandstrill, but we also brought in Jeremy Shin.
Yeah, that's right. So
another one is the defensive end. They have Andre Jones Jr.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he gonna get cut.
Okay, 1-0.
Yeah.
All right.
And then the other one is center and guard Ricky Stromberg, who we drafted.
Why? Why Stromberg though?
2.
Oh well, no, because we brought in
O-line guys.
We brought in We brought in Badass or Badass or whatever his name is from Dallas. And
hey.
we brought him in. So yeah, he's kind of expendable.
Yeah, Quinn's gonna hold on to that boy.
So that was their list. So that was their list. So I found something interesting.
Or on the bubble.
Cole Turner was his name. Cole Turner.
Cole Turner, I'm a huge fan of Cole Turner. I actually like him. I think he's a developing kind of tight end. I think he's a guy you want to hold on to, but it is a deep room. So if you let him go, you put him on the practice squad.
Yeah. I would. This is just me. John Bates is a blocking tight end and something of that nature. But in the air raid offense, I would rather have Cole Turner than John Bates.
Well, the argument for John Bates with him being blocking tight end is if you're trying to do a power game, you can almost line him up at fullback, because we're not gonna carry a fullback probably, which I don't like because I'm a huge fullback kind of guy. I like blockers, but I'm old school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's another one. And so your guy, let's talk about your guy for a second, because Shaq, your guy is none other than Sam Hartman. And Sam Hartman got into the news this past week because they had the UFL draft for next season.
And he was drafted by the Birmingham Stallions. But you know what, though?
Defending champion Birmingham Stallions.
Defending champion. And they were the defending champions in the USFL before they combined.
That's right. So he was selected in the 9th round. They only have 10 rounds to this draft. So each team only picks 10 people. And I guess they got a free agency, everybody else that they come in, but because it's pretty much a reset every team every year under the UFL, but he was drafted. And so the rules of this, cause I got immediately fascinated, what does that mean? So basically it's a conditional contract for those who don't understand the UFL rules, which I didn't, I had to look it up, is if you get drafted by the UFL, it's a conditional draft. What that means is you're under contract with your NFL team, and you only exercise that contract is if you are released from your NFL contract. Wow. So if he makes the 53-man roster, then it null and voids his contract with the Birmingham Stallions. If he goes onto the practice squad,
that's what I was about to ask.
Then his practice squad, he'll be on the practice squad for the year, but he'll be able to still honor his Birmingham Stallions contract. So all indications and some of the speculation out there is that if Marcus Mariota can carry the water as the backup, then Sam Hartman will get placed on the practice squad, and he'll be the starter of the Birmingham Stallions next year.
So one of the things about the UFL, right? I'm glad they're doing this draft, and I'm glad they're giving everybody these opportunities, especially guys like Sam Hartman, who I feel like is an unsung hero, who's kind of one of the steals of the draft as well. But the UFL, I went to 3 Defenders games last year. I love those games, high energy and stuff.
That's where I met you. I met you at a Defenders game, man.
The Defenders game.
That's how we met. That was so cool.
Yeah. I like their games. The crowds are good. I like the beer snake. I love the energy. But the issue with them is these other cities aren't as enthused about these things. I don't know how much longer the UFL is going to be around. So I would like to see a quarterback like Sam Hartman in the NFL. If it's not with us, I would like to see him in the NFL. He's battle tested and ready. Yeah,
and I think if we can at least keep him on our practice squad, he's in there developing. I mean, because I think
carry 3, put 1 on the squad. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think if he really picks up our playbook and he really gets going, I find it hard to believe. I'm kind of like you, Shaq. It shouldn't take him long to succumb Marcus Mariota.
Yeah. Especially Marcus Mariota's in the later years of his career, right? He never had the strongest arm. Sam Hartman has an arm. You know what I'm saying? He's a pretty accurate guy.
And they got to see that in practice, right?
Yes. And you just don't go to Notre Dame and be their starting quarterback. They just don't give that job to any quarterback. You know what I'm saying? You got to earn that.
So here's what I think. I think you're going to see him take reps in the first preseason game, but I think you're going to see Sam Hartman play a large chunk of that 3rd preseason game. and they might make a decision. If he performs really well, he might make this team, man.
Might be the number 2.
Which you called, by the way, Shaq. You called it. He was number 4 on the roster, and you called it like he's probably going to make this team.
I'm telling you, because the only person like to make this, if they going to carry 3 quarterbacks, 2 on the active roster, 1 on the practice squad, only guy he got beat out is Jeff Driscoll.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And I think and I'll be honest with you, I think Jeff Driscoll is a camp body. I don't think he's like really in the mix on anything. I think he's a camp body to throw more balls around, to get more people reps, right? We're not keeping Jeff Driscoll.
The biggest threat right now, if Sam Hartman gets his fair handshake, he's the biggest threat to Jaden Daniels' job in the future. Remember when the Redskins drafted RG3? I said this before, and they drafted RG3, and then in the 5th round they drafted Kirk Cousins. I said that is their quarterback. I said as soon as they drafted it, I said they did that on purpose. That is our quarterback. That's going to be the quarterback of the future. Watch what I tell you. RG3 not going to last. And look what happened. Couple years, he got hurt. Boom. Kirk Cousins was not starting 4 years.
That's right. And he was on like the franchise tag 3 of those 4 years.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So stupid.
And then he broke the NFL bank not once, but twice.
Oh my gosh. He was constantly breaking the bank.
Thank you.
So anyway, another one that's interesting to watch is you brought him up earlier is Johnny Newton. He was placed on non-football injury list, but actually was taken off of it today and reactivated. So like
his feet are good.
They put him on there and they said they reported 2 days ago. He's going to report to training camp and he will not play. We're going to put him on the non-football injury list and give him time to heal. They did a presser on it and everything. 48 hours later, they reactivate him. I guarantee you he was just like, oh, heck no.
No, I want to play.
I want to play because I'm trying to be on this team.
He wants to prove. No, he's going to make the team. He wants to prove because he's going to come into the season with a chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove to everybody that, hey, I should have been a first-round pick. I should have been a first-round pick. So
before those injuries were doing, I was tracking the draft board, as Large Sard knows very well. I was tracking the drafts really, really hard. He was a top 15 pick on my board in the first round. Before his foot injury came in. When he had that foot injury, he started sliding. I still didn't believe he'd get out of the first round. But, it was very, very offensive heavy. It was late before we started getting defensive players, and I was shocked he fell to the second round.
He's a ready now player. So,
yeah.
We're going to see.
So you get him going,
That's what I said. If Jonathan Allen is a dominant force, De'Ron Payne, dominant force. But if Jonathan Allen doing all that whining and stuff, come on, buddy. We got somebody sitting over your shoulder just ready to go.
So I'm trying to keep track of this footage. I still believe, I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, I still believe that Hard Knocks missed a golden opportunity to track a team that had 1,000 moving pieces.
Yeah.
That had 1,000 storylines.
Definitely the story.
And they went with the New York Giants, which to me is just like the ratings are incredibly low. It's very predictable to me. Like you wanted to start really doing this new kind of Hard Knocks where you want to track the offseason. You picked the wrong team to do it on. Because if you would have done it on the Washington Commanders, even though nobody likes to really have the cameras all in their face all the time, and teams usually don't do too well in that environment, from a fan's perspective, how much would we have loved it, especially us doing a show like this, to be able to have Hard Knocks behind the scenes every day, tracking all these thousands of moves and everybody stops behind everything from what we did in the draft, what we did in free agency, the turnover of the coaching staff, the movements in the front office to like people's controversy about the name change and whether or not we bring the logo back at least to like the new stadium build proposals. Like there are so many storylines.
So many.
A ton of stuff.
Hard Knocks, you missed the boat.
You missed the boat. Now, I agree with you in this one, but remember, I told you there was another team, Houston. I told you Houston was the other team, right? I said Houston. Now, I'm going to add on to that list, right? Teams. Atlanta because of all their weapons. Remember, I said Atlanta.
And Cousins coming in.
And the Kirk Cousins storyline.
All of that. And Chicago. Chicago drafted Caleb Williams and added a ton of weapons. Ton of weapons. So they would have been a good story too. If they couldn't get us, anybody's better than the Giants. But if they couldn't get us,
just dead.
To me, that was just an epic failure because like the only show that they had that had any kind of bump of a rating was when they talked about what was happening when they were trying to keep Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
And the phone conversation with Saquon Barkley and the discussion between him and their GM. And that conversation was very fascinating because Saquon was just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Because they were jerking him around and he was and they wanted him to double back. He's like, oh, you want me to double back with you? Yeah, okay. Well, I've already made my intentions known. He's already made my intentions known. You ain't signed me, bro.
No, so there's any number of teams that had more storyline than the Giants.
I mean,
that show. You know what I mean?
The Giants had no storyline, really.
Saquon Barkley was an obvious one. The top 3 draft picks, anything happening there, or other, a team that's in a complete rebuild mode. There was any number of teams that could have.
But like besides the Giants, the only storyline they had was the Saquon, and they debacled it, right?
Yep.
So okay, you're an idiot.
Yep.
You don't let him go.
Yep. And then,
right?
And then that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get it. Like, even the Steelers, with the Steelers acquiring Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields, like that's a story. Like
that's a story.
That's a story.
Yeah.
And like so even they can talk Mike Tomlin, longest tenured coach in the NFL. That's a storyline. So yeah.
So another big part of news that's coming in is we now know when they're going to retire Darryl Green's number 28 jersey number. It is going to happen week 7 versus the Carolina Panthers. Week 7 versus the Carolina Panthers.
The game that nobody's going to go to.
I think they're trying to get somebody to go to that game.
The game, because Carolina's they're going to finish like 3. They're going
to finish right there. That number right there.
That number right there.
Oh, Lordy. That number right there. Look at that number. I snuck up on you, Coach Mad Mike. I snuck up on you.
Lars Sarge. In my new setup, I have Darryl Green behind me on a plaque catching the.
I want to see that.
You gave me a sneak preview of that, and now the fans can't see it. But I can't wait to see your new room finished.
That's a teaser.
Now that you've moved. And sure enough, every home game, I'm going to be at your house now that you live near the stadium. That's going to be awesome.
You're welcome.
But no, week 7, which probably would have been some of the cheapest tickets to get all year, now all of a sudden got expensive.
Yeah, because if you think about it, Carolina, I say Carolina may win 3 or 4 games tops this year.
Yeah. I think I have them with the number 1 overall draft pick next year.
Yeah.
So. And so maybe when you retire his number, it might be like almost as sure of a win that you could possibly ask for in the NFL.
Yeah.
Which any given Sunday, right? But like you probably feel kind of safe, like you might be able to pull a W on that game.
Hold on. Matter of fact, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, just because we brought this up, I'm going to look up how much these tickets are for this game.
He's going to buy his right now.
Let me see.
They might have just went up, man.
Oh Lord, they just went up. Shaq,
because they announced,
can't afford it anymore. Shaq, come on, Shaq.
That's right. Because they announced this like 72 hours ago that's when they were going to retire his number, and so everybody now is just like, oh, I wasn't going to go to that game, but now they're retiring Darryl Green's number. I gotta go. You know?
Oh yeah, here you go. Let's see, buy tickets because you can get tickets in the 400 for like. Maybe $20, $30.
Yeah, $20-$30, yeah.
It depends on how bad the season is. We win it, they're a couple hundred.
Yeah.
But for this game, let's see. For this game right here.
Let me guess, $45.
Now let's see. Let's look at
I'm a little bit more of a high roller. When I go to a game, I got to pay like $250.
I like sitting down in the low the 300s or in like the 200s or something like that.
For sure.
Yeah, right? I like to have a good seat. I want the better seats to have like a cup holder and all that kind of stuff. I want the good seats.
Up at the top seats, those people be up there throwing up on each other and stuff.
That's right, man. They were throwing up, fist fighting,
Yeah,
all each other names.
And you know the stadium kind of moves around a little bit once you get up there. How the wind be blowing, you feel like you're about to fall. You feel like you're about to fall. Yeah,
You're feeling it a little.
So I couldn't
way
even.
up there. You see up there in the top, up there, right there.
Yeah, look at the Sarge picture there.
You see
Sarge
up way
picture in
there.
the background. Yeah, way up there in that
What
top part.
do those seats cost up there?
Yeah, those ones.
Those are like $45
My head.
tickets.
These ones right here. What does that cost, Shaq?
Those are $65 for that game.
What about this one, Shaq?
That one.
Yeah, those are about 150, 200.
No, the one right beneath it.
Yeah, right here, yellow line.
Oh, those are the good seats, aren't they?
That's
like
like $234 for this game.
$234. Yeah, that's
So
about right.
And a $40 hot dog. That's what
Yep.
it takes to run a $6 billion team. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yep, and that's the club level, right?
They got loan payments to make, man.
Now, down when you get down in the 100s, the tickets are like 150, 120 bucks, whatever case may be. But the only thing about that is like you have to stand up the whole game to watch the game.
Right.
Yeah. No, I like to have a good seat, and I need my cup holders, and I'm getting old, man. I need the comfort feature. So I'll drop $250 if I go to a game.
Yeah, I like to sit in the 300s, the 200s. Well, I like to sit in like the top of the 100 so I can see the field.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, and I got to get a good. I need to be able to see a good view of the field. But still close enough where I could see the players. Because I got to see Jaden Daniels. I got to see all these guys. Right. I want to be able to tell who people are. Without having to need binos.
Man, you guys are weak, man. I pick my seats based on how close is it to the toilet and to the bar. That's what I'm talking about. That's how I choose my seats in the stadium. Where's the toilet and where's the bar?
You can watch the TV right there. You can watch the TV right there at the bar while you wait to buy one. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
The $15, 24 ounces.
The peanut guy can't move quick enough for me. I need beer.
All right, so one of the other stories we have, one of the main stories we have is there's still a lot of talk around Brandon Ayuk. So we got some clarification about the game footage with Brandon Ayuk. It came out in the interview. It really was not game footage, according to the coach. It was a still photo of Jaden Daniels, who gave it to Brandon Ayuk, saying, listen, you could be part of this lineup. If it was all he was doing, and it got blown out of proportion that Jaden Daniels was sharing practice game film with Brandon Ayuk. That's been myth busted now. That wasn't the case. Okay. There was no film that was shared. However, the two still hang out, and the conversations have resumed again. Apparently, there has been now more than one phone call that has been made to the San Francisco 49ers inquiring about Brandon Ayuk, and that there was even a trade proposal that was done where Adam Peters asked John Lynch, what would it take to get a deal done? And John Lynch said, I want Jahan Dotson, a number 2, and a number 5. In which case, Adam Peters said, "No, that's ridiculous. I'll hold what I got."
Bad trade. Well,
I mean,
it makes me sick. I'm going to puke in my head. There's all this stuff about Ayuk, and they haven't talked about the left tackle.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're not trading for a left tackle, but the storyline about Brandon Ayuk was
get the left tackle done. Then you can have all this fun.
Let's get back on the Brandon Ayuk thing. He's disgruntled in San Francisco.
Yeah. He said he wants out.
He wants out. He felt completely disrespected. They're way off on their numbers. Like, they want to pay him way lower than what he wants. He wants a lot closer to a $30 million contract, or he wants to at least get appreciated. He wants to get locked up long term. They're not going to do it. They are so far off that he's contemplating on holding out. He's demanded a trade. And so through that process, the Commanders have tried to make a call. Another team that's interested,
the Patriots,
right here, is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Steelers and the Patriots. He already said no to the Patriots. He's like, no, he didn't want to go to the Patriots. Patriots wasn't over now.
So all the behind the scenes discussion right now is between the Commanders and the Steelers. if anybody gets him at all.
That's
And
definitely a pickup for the
John
Steelers.
Lynch is playing extremely hardball right now because he really doesn't want to give him up. He's not coming down off of the asking price. I think if he came down off of the asking price a little bit, we might pull that trigger, but it's not looking like Adam Peters is going to budge either. Right.
So this my thing right here with Brandon Ayuk. Jahan Dawson in the second round pick is not bad. Not a 2 and a 5, but Jahan Dawson in the second round pick is not bad. But the thing is, us bringing him in, we're not going to pay him the money that he wants. He wants $100 million for a 4 or 5 year contract. We're not going to pay him that.
We're not going to pay him that.
No. So I mean, when he's technically a slot receiver, like no, we're not going to do that. You know, so that kind of takes him off the table for us.
So if we were to bring him in,
this channel's called Football Psych, right?
Yep.
It is.
And Ayuk just psyched himself out of a job because he's got no faith in his team, and now his team doesn't have any faith in him, right? They're willing to trade him. So I'm predicting he's going to have a very off year this year. Just because of all this controversy, his head's not in the game, his head's not with the team, and the coaching staff isn't with him. So this is an adversarial relationship now. And guess what's going to happen to his price when he has a bad year?
Oh, it's going to go down.
It's going to go down, and
he'll be the same player this year.
And I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. This is not the time that you get a player.
Yeah,
you don't get a player when they're in the final year of their contract because you're going to pay an inflated price for that player. Plus, you're going to give up draft capital,
100%,
which I am dead set against.
Yep.
Next year, he becomes a free agent. If you want him, that's when you chase him.
Yep. So, you know what was crazy though? And for this Brandon Ayuk, right? I agree with everything you just said, right? But he needs to expand his horizon. Be humble, expand his horizon, because there are some winning teams that could use him right now. So imagine, Green Bay could use him.
Oh yeah,
Green Bay could use him. You know what I'm saying?
Seattle could use him. He goes
the Rams
to that is.
Yeah, the Rams could use him. You know, now imagine Brandon Ayuk, because CeeDee Lamb is holding out too. Imagine CeeDee Lamb, they sign him, and then they bring Brandon Ayuk down there to Dallas.
So that's another interesting equation because you're right. CeeDee Lamb is holding out a training camp, looking for that new contract, trying to twist the arm of Jerry Jones, and it's actually smart play because if Jerry Jones tries to wrap up Dak Prescott, he's out of money.
Yep.
He don't have enough money.
And he still has to pay Michael Parsons and CeeDee Lamb.
That's right.
Dak Prescott has been a winning quarterback, but he haven't done enough to be getting this super $300 million contract. Like, no.
This could be a strategy by CeeDee Lamb's agent to say, let's twist the arm of Jerry Jones. If he locks us up, Dak Prescott's going to be the guy gone next year because they can't afford both.
Well, this is my thing right here, right? So with the whole Dak Prescott thing, Dak has been getting paid since he's been in the league.
That's right.
If you want a chance for your team to win, you want to take a sacrifice so y'all can maintain Michael Parsons, so y'all can maintain CeeDee Lamb. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if Michael Parsons hits the market, he's going to be
He's coming to the Commanders.
No matter what his asking price is, he's going to get it.
Yeah.
The
Cowboys have to choose between offense and defense. They do. So where Ayuk figures, Ayuk would be a gift to Dak Prescott this year because of other losses. They got no running game anymore.
There's no connection right now,
right? So,
but there's no connection right now. But because you would think you would have heard some kind of talk about maybe trading CeeDee Lamb for Brandon Ayuk, swapping players. But then it kind of leaves them both in the same precarious position.
Right, exactly.
They both want big contracts.
And neither player wants to be on that team.
I want a contract.
Yeah.
Could you imagine CeeDee Lamb and Deebo Samuel lining up on opposite ends of the field?
Be deadly. But that would be neither player would want to be on that team. You know what I mean? They don't want. Ayuk wants to be with Jaden Daniels for some reason. He wants.
It really has nothing to do with being with somebody or not. I'll tell you what this has to do with. It has to do with them getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to trade them, their agent's going to be like, okay, I want the long-term contract. The only reason why we're leaving, the only reason why we're causing a fuss is because my client wants to get paid. So in the end, it doesn't matter. Like all these teams want these players. Like you line up all 32 teams, they all want Brandon Ayuk. They all would want CeeDee Lamb. It's going to be based off of who's willing to pay them.
And you know what? And this is where the problem comes in with that, right? So there's no money for good players like CeeDee Lamb, Michael Parsons, Dak Prescott, Brandon Ayuk, because they paid so much money to mediocre players. There's no reason Kirk Cousins is getting money that Dak Prescott deserved. There's no reason that mediocre receivers all over the league are getting money that CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk deserve. You know what I'm saying? They messed the market up so bad that these guys that actually can play aren't getting paid.
Well, that's just it. You brought up a very valid point. The market's messed up. And because the market's messed up, people are out of money. Or people are just like, listen, my cap's tighter than what it looks on paper because I'm already projecting out where I need to put my dollars in building a team in the out years. You know, because, they matrix this stuff out 7 years.
Yeah.
And so they try to figure out because the longest contract typically somebody will sign is 7 years. So they keep their estimates out 7 years. And so they know by year, if you go to like over the cap or any of those other kind of tools, you'll see year after year in the out years, how much salary cap that they have, what they project, who's going to do what. Right. Mm-hmm. So like it gives them an idea of what they're looking at. And so I actually think the Commanders are in a good position because even though they brought in a lot of free agents this offseason, they had a lot of cap space. They were all on 1 year deals.
Yeah, they're 1 year deal. They're 1 year deal.
Yeah.
Short term. So they either are going to prove themselves and we can kind of negotiate from there, or they're going to be like, yep, no, you're done. Next. Who else are we shopping for?
Hey, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. We're moving on.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially if we don't have a winning season. We don't have a winning season.
Yeah, Zach Ertz will be gone. There's a number of names that'll be gone.
Yeah, I mean, and there could be some big names that are gone, like Jonathan Allen.
Yeah,
right.
Jonathan Allen, Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner's up there in age too, like Zach Ertz.
But we're already in rebuild, but if this is a bad year, like if the Commanders wind up in a position where they're still in the top 5 of the draft, of the years of bust, this is like a complete turnover. They did bring a lot of 1 year talent in. They are building from scratch still.
And if you think about this, okay, so if you look at our team, so we paid T-Mac, right? So guess who have to get paid next year? Brian Robinson got to get paid next year.
That's
right. There are other people. There are other people they're gonna have to get paid.
He's gonna earn it.
Derek Forrest is gonna have to get paid next year. Like there are people on the roster that are gonna have to get paid.
That's right. And so it kind of throws a lot of things, it kind of puts a lot of things into turmoil. But what I do like is I do like their position. But what you do have is if you do go after a guy like Brandon Ayuk, you are giving up draft capital that you need to rebuild a team. And so you have to ask yourself an important question. What is the delta behind what you think you might be able to get out of Jahan Dotson compared to a Brandon Ayuk at playing what is probably going to be the Z position on the team?
Yeah. So look, I'm gonna tell you right now. I think Brandon Ayuk is a more solid, established receiver, right? You know who Jahan Dotson reminds me of because he's so small. It reminds me of Deshaun Jackson because he's so small. Like he kind of runs around the middle of the field. He don't have Deshaun Jackson speed, but he's small like him, injury prone, always hurt, feet, legs, can't take no hit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we will be more solid with Brandon Ayuk, but I think we can find a Brandon Ayuk type of player in next year's draft if we maintain our draft capital. And then not only that, say Jonathan Allen wants to walk. He's under contract. Jonathan Allen wants to walk. You know the capital we would get for him, money, picks, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So we can be if we have a losing season and Jonathan Allen wants to walk, we're looking at going into next year's draft with maybe another 7 to 9 picks.
Yeah, and it's also a good position if that was to happen too, because you got Johnny Newton. So Johnny Newton can be a cross-drawn pain, and you still got your inside secure. Yep. And to go back to one of the guys that they say is on the bubble, like Fedarius Mathis, I think you hold on to a guy in depth like Fedarius Mathis because you just don't know. You don't know if you're going to keep Jonathan Allen. You also don't know how strong these feet are of Johnny Newton. So as an insurance policy, to me, I like Fidarius Mathis. I think he's a guy that you hold on to. I see this team carrying 4 defensive tackles. What do you think?
I agree. Because it's going to be the strength. Because our edges are so weak.
That's right. And we might be flushing some defensive ends. I wouldn't be surprised, because here's the other thing that I don't think people realize, because they look at the NFL draft. They're like, okay, we had the 2nd overall pick in the NFL draft. No, we had the 2nd pick in the NFL draft, plus we have the 2nd pick on the waiver wire.
Yep.
So every single time when someone gets waived from a team, we get 2nd dibs at that player behind Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So, or actually, no, Chicago got that pick from somebody.
Yep.
Who did they get it from? Carolina?
Yeah, it was from Carolina. I'm looking it up.
So
I believe it was Carolina.
Yeah, so Carolina will get 1st dibs on the player. We get 2nd dibs on that player. So anybody gets released from any other team, we have a chance to really pick up a lot of good players here as rosters start getting cut down to 53.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a little activity.
So there's going to be some activity. And don't be surprised if one of these teams give up an edge rusher or 2, and we go, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or we start seeing a lineman get cut. You know who else is holding out right now?
Who's that?
Trent. Trent is.
Trent Williams?
Yeah, he's holding out right now. Yep.
Trent Williams?
Yes, Trent Williams is holding out.
You know how bad I want him back? I never want him to leave, man.
I seen that earlier today. Trent Williams is holding out.
Unbelievable. Hey, Coach and Shaq, we got a question in from Dave and Ginger over at All American Street Rods.
Okay.
Let's please give a shout out to All American Street Rods in Manassas, Virginia, the best custom cars ever made.
That's right.
All right. What's their question?
Question is, what's up with the left tackle position? Is it really between Coleman, a rookie, and Lucas?
All right, Shaq, answer that question.
I can tell you right now, Coleman is struggling because it's not his original position, right? So, even though Cornelius Lucas he's not it, but he's the best option that we have. Now we always talk.
No, he's not.
I mean, that's what I was about to say. We talk about Bakhtiari coming in, right? We talk about Donovan Smith. We talk about these other guys out here, but it's just a matter of the health of Bakhtiari, the money for Donovan Smith, right? We may even have to go back and get Charles Leno. You know what I'm saying? If he's still out there,
okay.
I wouldn't even go back and go get him.
Out there.
Any of them are better.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to go into training camp and they're going to throw Brandon Coleman right in there in first team reps.
Yep.
And when he needs breathers or if things aren't working and you need to put a bug in his ear or you need to freaking chew his butt out on the sideline, that's when Cornelius Lucas is going to go in. So we know what we got in Cornelius Lucas.
Yep.
So he's not an every down player.
No. So this is my thing right here with that, right? With Cornelius Lucas, right? I would say it would be good to have him for a mentorship role, but what kind of mentorship is he going to give to Coleman? Let's be realistic, right?
Exactly.
It's not a mentorship role. I think it's more like he's just the backup and they're splitting reps, right?
Yeah.
I believe, if anything, Wiley on the right side's there for mentorship, but he doesn't, he's expected, even though he's a 3rd round pick, he's expected to make an immediate impact. Now
that's unfortunate.
They something them we don't see. They just.
So here's what I think is going to happen. I think he's going to struggle, and I think they're going to give him multiple reps, and Cornelius Lucas is going to be relieving him, and they're going to realize, if they don't already, that those other names that you mentioned are still going to be there waiting in the wings because no other team signed him either. And they're going to bring him in at the opportune time.
Shaq and Coach, I got a quiz question. Lawrence Sarge got a quiz question.
Let's go.
How many left side breakdown sacks does the quarterback have to take before they figure out they need a left tackle?
It should be only one. It should be only one because that's how Joe Theismann got hurt, ain't it?
It is. It is. It only takes one.
It only takes one.
And you know what? One is too many.
And see, the other thing I don't like about Brandon Coleman is he went to Texas Christian University. I mean, you're not talking about an SEC school. You're not talking about, he played big time football, right? I mean, I got it's Division I and all, but there's a huge but. Like, there's a huge
not SEC.
Anyway. It's not SEC. So, I mean, you're talking about a significant leap from TCU to the Washington Commanders. And so it is really not fair to throw him to the Wolves against an elite NFL edge rusher that's coming at him that wants to freaking slaughter.
This is the thing right here, right? So I'm glad you brought that up because out of that conference down there, right, when they had Texas, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, when they had them, right? You know what I'm saying? You had Baylor, stuff like that, right? TCU, Houston. You had those teams in that conference, right?
Right.
Only two teams that were really powerhouse teams down there were Oklahoma, Texas, Baylor here and there. But look at the longevity of players. That's what I'm saying. Look at the longevity of the players from TCU, Texas Tech, Baylor. It's not long. I mean, we got Mahomes, Texas Tech. But I mean, other than that, let's look at the rest of the league and see the longevity of players from these other schools that's in that conference.
Wasn't RG3 from Baylor?
He was from Baylor. Yep.
Yeah. He didn't last long.
It didn't last long. Think about it.
Yeah. So, like, I think that there's promise in him. But here's what I would want him to do. I would want him to be the primary backup underneath somebody like a Bakhtiari or a Donovan Smith and learn, where you can rotate him in on situational plays. But, like, that's not the approach that they're taking. I got to assume that, these guys know what they're doing. And I think that there's got to be a list of guys that the status. Like, I would find it hard to believe, like, you don't know the status of DJ Humphries, Donovan Smith, David Bakhtiari, Charles Leno. Like, you got all these guys on a list. You know who you got. You've already made phone calls. You've already had conversations with them. Yep. And it's about timing, and there's a lot of things. And some of these old vets are just like, man, training camp, those things get kind of rough. I'll work out on my own.
And then think about this, Coach Mad Mike. So he's been playing one position his whole life, right? Mm-hmm. You're asking this man to get to the most elite level of professional football sports and to switch to a different different position. Like, there aren't many people in the NFL that make that transition. Right. Well, Logan Thomas did it good. He went from quarterback to receiver. Cordell Stewart went from quarterback to slash, stuff like that. There are certain people that make the transition.
Running back.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? There are certain people that make the transition right. But on that offensive line, no. We often see, remember the years where our offensive line was completely beat up and we was just trying to plug and play people in, and our quarterbacks were getting slaughtered because they don't understand the position.
So Dave,
I will tell you, you get a guy like, if you get a guy like DeMarcus Ware to come off that edge, when we're playing Dallas, that's not going to be pretty, man.
No.
So Dave out of Street Rods is saying maybe the reason that they're not willing to name a starting quarterback is exactly because of this issue. They haven't figured it out at left tackle. What do you think about that?
Well, okay. So this is my thing right here. So we have two of the same style kind of quarterbacks. They're scramblers. They're runners. Jaden Daniels is more of a focused pocket passer, but they're both scrambling quarterbacks. So that weakness in that left tackle, I don't think is going to affect who they choose as a starter. When you have an older Mariota that made a living in college scrambling and in NFL scrambling, Jaden Daniels has a ton of rushing touchdowns. So, I mean, that's not the reason why. They're just playing politics right now. That's what I think it is.
They're playing politics because part of it is you don't want people to get too comfortable too early, right? You want, especially when it comes to rookies, you don't want to give them anything.
Yep.
Like you want to bring a young kid in and out of college and don't think you're going to come in and take over an NFL team. That ain't happening. Yep. You're going to have to earn it. And I think that's what they're doing with him.
And now, if you think about it, even look at Mahomes now. But who was he sitting behind? Alex Smith. Look at Jordan Love now. He was sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. Now I feel bad because
Aaron Rodgers was sitting behind Brett Favre. You know, it was just like
Aaron Rodgers, yep. That's what I'm saying. And I feel bad because he's not going to get that.
Yeah, he's not going to. Now Ginger is marking up here, you guys, and what she's saying is the Skins broke our G3 through overworking his first year, and speedsters usually don't last after they get that first hurt. And RG3 played while hurt and lost that speed.
Now,
She's right. She's right.
I can tell you. Matt, I can name 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I can name 5 quarterbacks. They got punished, but they suffered through it. It's just these new quarterbacks they do on scrambling aren't really built like that anymore. Randall Cunningham.
Yeah.
He used to take beatings, but he was a scrambling quarterback. Warren Moon was a scrambling quarterback. Steve McNair was a scrambling quarterback. Mark Brunell, and these guys kind of survived through this.
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick. He's my fifth.
They took
my fifth.
punishment.
They took punishment, but as they got older, they started adjusting their game.
Yeah.
They started adjusting the game. They said, okay,
they stopped running.
They stopped running.
Steve Young was big on that. He's just like, no, I'm keeping my butt in the pocket now.
Yep. Steve Young is another one. Yep. Used to get hurt. I think and those were the prototypes for the guys that we have in the league now. So
I think Coach and I agree. It's great to have a guy he's got feet and can run. He's got speed. He's got quickness. But ideally, you want a guy to sit back and get rid of that ball in 3 seconds or less. And when the play breaks down, has the escape speed to make something happen. Yeah. Mahomes is not fast. Mahomes is not that fast.
No, but
he scrambles. He knows how to scramble and make something.
I'm going to tell you what I like about it and what I don't about scrambling quarterbacks, because Lars Sarge has been around me for a long time, and he knows I am a pocket passing kind of quarterback kind of guy. I am dead set on it. I don't like these scrambling guys because they do make stupid decisions and they get hurt.
Yeah,
I don't like it. I want you to stay in the freaking pocket and do your reads and get rid of the freaking football.
Yeah.
Right. But here's what I do like if you do have a scrambling quarterback. I want you scrambling because it's designed to be that way. I want you scrambling because you're extending the play. I don't want you scrambling because you're running for your freaking life.
Yeah.
There's a difference
down on you. Yeah, exactly.
Now look, I'm gonna tell you this, Coach Man Mike, right? So I tell this to Baltimore fans all the time. I said, do you know the reason that the Ravens are never gonna win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson? They're never gonna win a Super Bowl. One, because he spends too much time running around the field. That's one. And two, his leading receiver every year is a tight end. You cannot be a quarterback with a winning team and Mark Andrews is your leading receiver, right? So
that's right.
Wow, come on, Brady and Gronk. I mean, come on now.
No. We can't say that.
We can't say that because Tom Brady
had Randy Moss. He's had
Randy Moss. He had Wes Welker. He had Littleman.
All right, he had someone else.
In Tampa, he had Godwin and Evans. He had a lot of other dudes.
Yeah. So and then not only that. So I agree with the design plays. Like that's what Chicago started doing with Justin Fields. They started knowing like, he got the arm strength, but hey, let's run him outside the pocket. Similar, like there were times he wasn't running from his life. He was creating plays or whatever the case may be, but they was using him for design plays. Mm-hmm. And I fully believe that's what they're going to use.
That's the whole purpose of the bootleg, right? I'm going to bootleg because I wanted them to get in an open space. I want them scrambling a little bit because it allows receivers to get further downfield. Yeah. It stretches the play, right? Yep. It gives them time. So, but I like it because a bootleg's designed. I don't like it when, I want you to ad-lib as soon as the ball is hiked every time because your offensive line is going to break down, which I have a feeling if we don't address some of these situations with the Commanders' offensive line, because I'm going to tell you, Bazat, the other guys that we brought in, this is not a highly rated offensive line. I will tell you, the only one on this line I really look at as a starter is Sam Cosmi.
Yeah, Cosmi.
The rest of them could probably all be replaced.
Yeah,
I mean, or they could be quality backups, but we're going to use them as starters, which means this line has a risk of doing what happened to Sam Howell last year.
And we're not playing a fullback. And when we need that extra body to block,
that's because the league doesn't even know what a fullback is anymore.
I know.
So, like, the NFL is just stupid that way.
Yeah.
I will tell you one person that will use a fullback, and that's Jim Harbaugh over there, because he knows how to do a running game.
Exactly. What him? San Fran uses them. I know they use them. San Fran uses them. Houston uses them. They are teams that still play old school gridiron football.
Detroit did at the beginning of last year, and then they moved away from it.
Yep.
Now, Detroit never really went to it. But like, I will tell you, teams that do, they shock teams because the defenses aren't prepared to get blocked like that. And you might see a resurgence of old school football again because it freaking works, man.
I hope so.
And I can tell you this right now. While we talk about running quarterbacks, you know who I feel like this? I don't think it's going to be in the league much longer. I hope. I don't wish any bad on him. I hope he has a long career. But Kyler Murray, he's too small. He spends most of his time running.
I love his heart.
I love his heart.
He's one more injury away from being done.
And I don't want to see Jaden Daniels in that kind of position because he haven't had a line out in Arizona, and I don't want to see Jaden Daniels in that kind of position.
Nope, you're absolutely right. I mean, we could be putting Jaden Daniels in a Kyler Murray situation.
Yep, and I don't want that. We don't want that.
But the thing is, and I think the part that frustrates me with the talent that everybody says Adam Peters has. They've completely rebuilt their scouting staff. They've actually brought in and they've actually beefed up like their director of player personnel, their assistant director of player. Like all these guys are new and they brought them in and they've got like this wealth of experience. Mm-hmm. Okay, you either got paralysis by analysis or you have some interesting lists that are going on that you are trying to work and it's about timing. I don't know what the flip you're doing, but since you brought all those people in the room, I haven't seen you add not one offensive lineman.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And this is another thing too. They did bring in a bunch of smart people, right? Maybe there's somebody in the draft that they are.
What do you mean for like next year?
Yeah.
But like, what about this year?
This year.
Because you just use some pretty heavy.
Gentlemen, I'm going to give you a prime example of what to do.
Your quarterback of the future.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a prime example of what to do. Take an average to slightly above average quarterback. Let me guess. Jared Goff. Put him behind the number 1, 2, or 3 ranked offensive line and watch him go to work. And watch your running game explode.
Yeah, because Jameer Gibbs had a big year last year.
Enough said.
Yep.
So, use the Dan Campbell model and don't use your field goal kicker. And for any reason whatsoever. Yeah.
I love it.
So, but anyway, all right, guys. Well, that is our show for tonight. I mean, we covered a lot of topics. It's going to be interesting because training camp is here. We are so close to football being back. We're going to have more stuff. And next week, we're doing a show on Monday. And guess what? I will have some news from you because I'm going to training camp on Saturday. And this is Football Psych, guys. Shaq, what do you got? Final words.
Hey. Make sure you tune into the Journey of a Jackass podcast.
Please do.
If you want to laugh. All right. Now, I see y'all on Monday. It's going down. Shaq only says hell. Shaq only hails. Hail to the Redskins.
Hail to the Redskins. Yeah. And all of you guys that do watch Journey of a Jackass and you get over there, tell all those guys over there, come look at this show next Monday. We will be on our regularly scheduled time. And we would like to hear because there's some great people over there that watch your show, man, and they need to be watching this one. All right, Large Sarge, parting words.
Don't buy those seats. Get better seats than that. All right? Get next to the toilet in the bar.
We're $250 tickets. All right, guys, this is Football Psych. I'm Coach Matt Micah. We're out of here. Peace.
Peace.